So, last time we covered all of the item collection in Brintstar. Initially, we covered the non-moon dance method, and then we covered the moon dance method. And with both of those methods, I talked about task tank and non-task tank strats. One thing that I forgot to mention though is that if you did happen to be crazy and grab the task tank, that makes health management a little bit harder for this next part. Really for the previous part. When you go into Retro Brintstar to get the power bombs, and there's the 3 big side hoppers, they do a ton of damage. So usually coming in here, I think you end up having like 3 something energy, like probably about this much. This is okay. If you end up having less than 300, it's kind of sketchy, but you're usually still okay. Anyway, so we're going to Norfair, go down the elevator. As we go down the elevator, we want to have super missiles equipped because we're going to go straight into the ice door. So, without further ado, talk about these strats. So this is kind of where the RBO run gets real. This is the first hell run that we're going to do. This room requires a mockball to get under this gate. If you don't do the mockball, you're not going to get under the gate. So don't fall in the lava like that. That's a really bad idea. You can jump through this door and then immediately morph. What I do is I hold jump this whole time, and then I unmorph with 2 up taps and press left to do a buffered spin jump up against this wall. Really, just do whatever is most comfortable for you, but that's what I do. And then I do an early shot, and if you time it correctly, you'll hit both of those novas right there. And then you can open the door and do a damage boost, or you can roll through. There are a bunch of different variations to how this room can go, but the main thing is just trying to get through it quickly so that you don't lose a ton of health to the hell run. That's the main thing that you should be focusing on here. Okay, and then you want to collect ice, immediately turn around, start charging, hold L and run forward. You can just let go of your inputs here, and these 2 guys will automatically freeze. So there's a couple different methods you can use to escape here. You can hold run and then push down after you run off the ledge. You'll land on this second guy, and then you can just do a mock ball out like that. Okay. Or since you don't have high jump, this jump ball is quite a bit easier than it would be otherwise. The jump ball is fastest, but there's a little bit of risk to it if you screw it up, so keep that in mind. You also can farm all these guys if you want. If I remember correctly, when I tested it, it wasn't worth. But who knows? Maybe it would be in some situations. So anyway, and then this room gave me a lot of trouble. So the idea here is that we need enough running speed getting through this door over here for the mock ball to make it under the gate. Now the easiest way to do that is with both of these guys frozen, like this. Oops, not like that. Don't do that. That's bad. Like that. Okay. But it's kind of slow to set both of them up like this, obviously. And trying to set them up fast can be hard. So it took me a while to get comfortable with setting both of them up fast. So what I ended up doing instead was doing this. So first of all, I piano this room, just FYI. And yeah, I would do that sort of a thing, basically. And it works most of the time, as long as you land far enough left on that left guy to get enough running speed, it'll work. But what I've started doing now is this. The way that works is you want to do a short hop here, shoot when you land, do another short hop and do an angle down shot, then another straight shot just in case this first one doesn't open it, and then another angle down. You get that last guy, and another short hop mockball through the door. I realize probably making it seem a lot easier than it is, but that is strat. So then you want to mockball all the way to about here. You don't want to shoot as you first uncrouch, because then the floor will break right here. So what you want to do is uncrouch just after the gate and delay your shot just ever so slightly. Select supers and then jump through the door. Weave down through these. Open this door with an angle down shot on your way down. And then you have a couple different options here. So we'll talk about this. What I've started doing is doing a select missile here, and that's actually something that we haven't covered, so I'll just talk about that really quickly. If you hold select and choose a missile or a super missile or a power bomb, you'll notice that the icon is blinking. I think the same thing happens for grapple and X-ray as well. What that blinking means is that you'll use one of that item and then it will automatically deselect. So that can be really useful in certain situations, this being one of them. But it's also kind of hard to put yourself in a situation where you can optimally do that, because to push select, usually you're going to have to take your finger off the D-pad. So, and I assume that this is only, so select, I have select as item cancel, so I'm assuming that's the mechanic, is you hold item cancel and then choose the item. But yeah, so that's what I do, is I weave, I angle down shot, and then, if I can do it again, I do a select missile here. The reason for that is because I want to get this schemer with a missile, but I don't want to have missiles selected after. I'm not entirely sure why, but I think it's because if I miss with the missile, I don't want to shoot a bunch more missiles trying to get him. That's probably why. Really, you don't have to have the single missile select like that, because I end up selecting power bombs on the way down anyway, so probably counterintuitive to do it that way. So collect the tank, and then here, I think it's frame perfect, but if you unmorph right as you fall down, you can drop down at effectively the same speed as you would just rolling off, and then you can do a soft morph at the bottom, which will prevent a bounce. Can end up saving like 4 frames or something like that. It's basically a task trick, but I sometimes go for it depending on how I'm feeling. So you want power bombs selected, you can just roll here, do an angle up shot after your unmorph, and then you can just push forward, and Samus will automatically stand up. You can just ledge grab there. Do a jump, shot, aim down, select high jump. That's kind of all there is to this room. Just make sure that you position your shot correctly, because if you're too high, then you're not going to get both of those blocks, or if you're too low, you'll only get the one. So. And then there's a down grab shot right here, actually, that I can talk about. So you can shoot before you have completely cleared this, and that will actually open the door for you. See that? So you can shoot and then do a down grab and run off and do an aim down through the door, and that way you won't bonk. But if it's not a clean down grab, it's actually worse than just like doing that, or doing like a jump over. So anyway, you want to do that. Powerbomb should still be selected, and then this is another hold jump, unmorph, push left to do a buffer spin jump, and then you can just wall jump up the shaft like that. Lay a power bomb right here. What that does is it kills this guy, which opens the door, and it breaks this block here in the corner, as well as that one, so you can just jump up and through. You want to jump as you're going through this door. The fastest way through this room is like that. So you want to do a little wall jump off that first platform up onto this one, and then do another wall jump off of this one. Just kind of a little bit late so that you don't bonk. If you're too high and early, then you're going to bonk that platform up there, like that. So you want to do it kind of low and late. And then we want to do a very short hop coming into this room. There are a couple different ways you can do this one. What I do is I hold down going into the room and I shoot immediately. With Spazer, you'll pretty much always hit that block right there. And then I shoot twice here. Once before I land and then once after I land. And then I just keep shooting. You can get all these guys. Something that some other people do is they'll use missiles. And the benefit to that is that hang on, sorry. Yeah, so some people will actually do like a shot and then a missile. The benefit to that is that if you do it early enough, you can collect that drop from the second hopper without stopping. But in RBO, I've found that it's usually not worth it, because you're going to be farming in Bubble Mountain, and so you want to preserve your missiles before that. So, yeah, I just do the Spazer shots, then I collect. And then this last jump is a little bit tricky. The way that I've started handling it is by doing a ledge grab and then a crouch jump. But I used to do like a spin jump. The main thing is just that you want to open that pink door as quickly as possible before landing, so that you don't have to wait for it to open and run through. Alright, so this room. You just want to do a mockball over this first platform. As long as you're jumping relatively late, you're not going to bonk into this stalactite right here, but you also want to make sure that you don't delay your jump too much or you're going to run off like this, which is bad. So if you jump too early, you will bonk, so just be a little bit careful about that. And then what I like to do is do a shot as I'm coming up over this one, and another one as I'm coming down to kill that flyer guy. You don't want to go too far forward, or you're going to have a hard time getting into optimal position to do that weave. So like that. But yeah, you just kind of want to weave and then open that door with a super, since normally it's going to be green. And there is a pseudo screw strat, but you can't actually collect the drop from the flyer with it, since you have ice beam. So yeah, I don't go for it. This room's called Rising Tide. There are a couple different things you can do. The easiest thing to do is just to morph. You don't want to take damage from these hopper guys because they do a lot of damage. So you just want to morph and roll through. You're going to hit that Nova, and then you want to unmorph before this guy. So yeah, hit the Nova, unmorph before that guy, do a couple jumps, go through the room. In something like 100%, you would just roll all the way through like this. The problem with that is that you're going to take a lot more damage, and you don't want to do that in RBO, because the next thing we're going to do is farm, and when we leave the farm is based on our health for the most part. So we want to maintain as much health here as we can. There's also they call it the upper strat for Rising Tide. It's a lot more difficult, but it is actually faster. So what you want to do is either a bounce ball or a mock ball off this first platform. Sometimes you will bonk this guy. It's RNG based how high they hop, so. And then you want to do a damage boost off of that Nova. This platform, you want to be as far left as you can so that you can get a lot of running speed on that jump to make it onto the platform behind that seahorse guy. Because if you don't, then you're going to land down here, which is bad. And then you can either just skip this guy, shoot as you're falling, which will open the door, or something that I do sometimes is I'll select a missile, and if you time it right, you can actually shoot that Nova and collect its drop. And depending on what it drops, it can be totally worth it. See, like, that was a super. That was totally worth it. But, yeah. Anyway, so that's Rising Tide. This is Bubble Mountain. The thing that most people are going to do is jump up left here. Do a running jump over here, wall jump up here. And go through the door. You can also do a damage boost. In RBO, the damage boost is obviously a bit more optional since you're trying to conserve health, but it is faster. What I do is called Right Side Bubble Mountain. Basically, if you wall jump far enough away from the wall and low enough, you can get up like this. It's like a second faster than most other strats, especially if you get the boost like that. But it's kind of hard because this wall jump right here. So if I don't make it up on the first wall jump, what I will do is I'll purposefully bonk 2 more times in a slow fashion, and then I'll shoot down and land on this waiver with Ice Beam. Okay. 3. Oops. 1, 2, 3. I guess it's 4. But yeah. So that's what I do. Again, if you get the jump and you're not bad, you can do a damage boost that'll take you all the way over there. And it's really fast. You also can just do the normal thing where you... Come on. Where you just, like, shoot the cack and shoot the waver. Collect their drops. And then go on through. I do a select missile before I go through this door. Then I run through the door and I let go of all my inputs. Press down, angle up, and shoot twice. And what will happen is you'll shoot the scree with a missile, and then it will deselect, and you can immediately shoot a spazer shot. And there isn't like a cooldown to wait for that either, which is great. Because for just a spazer shot, first of all, there's a cooldown, and second of all, you have to shoot 3 times to kill the scree, and it causes lag too. So that's why I do the missile select thing. And then you can just jump over their particles and jump up like this. Or you can do a down grab over this lava gap if you're fast enough, and run underneath the particle like that and jump up. Okay. Then you want to farm here. You can farm as much as you want, really, until you're comfortable. What I've started doing is farming until I'm full or almost full on ammo and have like 350 or more health, and then I'll run through. Just like every other category, you arm pump here. You can open this door with a super. There's also a missile pack that you can collect here if you want the extra missiles for safety. And then I do a buffered shot. So I shoot and then I do a spin jump. I collect speed and then I turn around and Samus will automatically shoot the door open, and then you can just run back. You can shoot right at the top of that hill to open the door. Can you wall jump off the statue? You can, but you're not going to make it all the way back to the left, if that's what you mean. You want to jump through this door most of the time, because it makes the door transition a lot faster. But if you have echoes, you can just run through, and that will make it so that you automatically kill these guys with blue suit. Okay. So we want to shoot these guys and then just keep farming. The best way to farm is with bombs like this, because that's going to kill them basically as soon as they spawn if you time it correctly. And especially when you have Ice Beam, you'd have to shoot twice, or you'd have to use missiles, which is counterintuitive. You can farm until you're full here if you want. That's safest. I've stopped doing that, but really it's up to you, obviously. And then you want to deboost off of these screes if you can on your way out of the room, because it's fastest and it will actually save you some health compared to not doing it. You'd have to like wait and go through. So that was 510 health. That's 542 health. Okay. A short jump down through the hole is also fastest, but you can also do like a bigger jump, or you can do a down back. They're both good. Okay, and then we want to come down here. This room is kind of interesting. you have a few options. Probably the easiest one is to shoot on your way through the door. That will freeze this guy, and then you can kill the guy on the left here with a missile. And just go on through. That will reduce lag. If you don't freeze this guy or kill him with a missile, you're gonna get lag. Especially if you leave this guy alive, you're just gonna get a few lag frames there. So it's best to freeze him and go through. If you need more power bombs, you can actually kill both of these guys. Like that. Oops. There's one other strat that you can do here. You can do a damage boost off of this guy and go all the way down. That's fastest, but it does cost health, obviously. So, frag bait elite will be there. I think he's going for the same length of time that I am, so just a couple days. But I don't know for sure. One more thing to mention about this room. You can either do a gap skip there to run through the door, which will get you kind of a longer transition. Or you can do a jump to try and fix the door transition, which it usually does. So it was 95 frames versus 76 frames. And it's about the same room time, too, which is a nice thing. The one thing to keep in mind is that with the gap skip, you're going to have more run speed coming into this room, so potentially save some frames there. But I definitely prefer jumping. Okay. You want to jump and do a shot as you enter this room. As long as it goes through this stalactite right here, that's kind of the position that you're looking for. And it will open that gate. You don't want to shoot too high, or it might not open. And you don't want to shoot too low, or it might not open. Okay, so just make sure you're kind of shooting through that stalactite. And then jump across this gap, open the door with the super. That's really, like, there isn't really a better way to do this room. Don't ledge grab on these platforms, because that can happen. It's not as easy as I just made it look. Like, usually I can't make it happen even when I try, but it can happen if you frame perfectly ledge grab. You can just clip through the platform. So, don't do that. If you really want to quote unquote ledge grab, like extend your hitbox so that you'll land earlier, then do it while you're still in the air. Just don't do a traditional, like, yeah. Anyway. Yo, Tim, thanks for the sub, man. Select supers preemptively, by the way. And then, like I said, just jump across the gap. Do a wall jump. Don't co-jacked. That's bad. Try to have as much run speed as you can getting across the gap, or it can get kind of scary there. You definitely don't want to fall on these spikes, because they do a lot of damage. They do 60 damage. So avoid falling on the spikes. If you have to take damage from something, take it from that Ripper, because if I remember correctly, he only does 20 damage. So yo, McBrady, thanks for the host, man. Okay. This is another shoot, spin, jump, turn situation, where shooting and then spin jumping buffers a charge, so that Samus will automatically shoot again when she lands. And then you can just run off here, position yourself up against this block, and then do a short aim down left, and that'll get you an optimal position for running through the door. You can also YOLO and do like a like a short hop like that and try and get in a good position. But yeah. Okay, this room. Optimally, you want to jump all the way across right here, but that can happen and you can land on the spikes. So if you're not confident in that, another thing you can do is just kind of aim for the middle. Do a quick drop. Come out like that, okay. You can also just run off, I think. Yeah, you can. So just make sure that you don't land on the spikes that will damage you. That's the main thing. And then this jump right here, basically what I do is I unmorph as close to this position as I can. I hold dash and then I run forward until right about here, so the left side of this mound, and then I jump. That should get you in a good position to do a wall jump up out of the room, okay? Do not miss this wall jump. If you do, it's very bad, because recovering from it is really hard, as you can see. Like, there are ways that you can recover, but you're also losing health this entire time, so don't do that. I've had runs die because I did that. On the way out here, you do want to do a gap skip, and then just do a ledge grab and run under this guy that pops up. Shoot 2 missiles and run through the door. Pretty basic. And then here, you want to lay a power bomb down here to open these blocks, okay? We're gonna go down to Croc now. If you kill or freeze these waivers, you can reduce some lag. It's kind of hard, but I would recommend trying to figure out a way to do it. And then you can do an unmorph down back here to not land on this platform. And if you do it correctly, you can also collect the drop from that Nova that I killed. Almost. That. Okay. Now we want to jump down, go through this gate, and run through the door. If you have like 200 health coming into this room, you're probably okay to not bother farming with these guys. Unless you're like really unconfident in the next couple of rooms. But you can farm with these guys if you need to. If you need more health or whatever, that is an option. Okay, for this room, basically what we want to do is we want to knock this guy off of the wall so that he falls down with us, okay? The best way to do that is to shoot in this corner right here and then turn, and what'll happen is you'll KO through him if you time it correctly, like that. And then you want to open the door and then do a door quick drop through the door, and that will make it so that the guy follows you down through the transition, but you don't take damage until after the transition. That was not how it was supposed to be. And then if you just hold jump and left, you'll do a damage boost like that. Okay. Do short jumps here, ideally, so you spend more time on the ground running. Select supers as you're running through this door. Some people do a mockball. It's actually not optimal to do a mockball through the door. It's best to just run through, aim down, do a door quick drop. Okay, for Croc, the easiest thing to do would probably just be either shoot him with supers like this, and then charge shots when he opens his mouth. Or you can shoot him with regular missiles, I guess. Or just charge shots the whole time. If you time your projectiles correctly, you can make it so that he'll skip that stop animation like that. And that way you don't have to wait for him to open his mouth the second time. The optimal thing here to do is 2 missiles and a super. It's kind of hard, but what I do is I shoot two regular missiles, and then I run forward and switch and shoot a super. Like that. That also pretty much always gets that animation skip. Okay. 2 missiles and a super. And then if you really want to YOLO, you can actually sneak a super in during that brief mouth open right there, and he'll step back like an extra time or 2 before he opens his mouth again. I don't know if it's frame perfect, but it's really tight. Gosh dang it, man. There we go. So yeah. He'll do 9 steps back, and then you just want to be ready to load him up with charge shots after that. Preferably you don't want him to swipe because that takes longer, but it is basically just RNG. If he's swiping a lot, sometimes what I'll do is I'll load him up with another missile and a super, just because that'll send him farther back than a charge shot would, so he has less opportunity to try and swipe. You technically could do that for every cycle. Excuse me. And maybe save a little bit of time, but I think the time that you would save would be lost on farming the items back up. So run, jump, do a wall jump over here, collect the energy tank, and then you can do a door wrap right here. If you position yourself so that Samus's front foot is halfway off on the corner, and then you jump and release your shot basically when you hit the ceiling, and it'll do a door wrap. The more traditional way to do this door wrap would be to do it from this corner down here, but obviously, like, you're taking a bunch of health damage in the acid and stuff when you do that, so why not just do it from the top? Sounds like the siren canceled that out. The last thing I'm going to mention is that if you're really low on health, you can save health by starting to dash just as the acid is receding. Okay, so like this. And then jump out basically as soon as you land. The lowest amount of health that I've lost doing this is, I think, 27. It's like 20, 25-ish. So just keep in mind, you can survive with less than 30 health, but only just barely. Okay. All right. We're almost through the Norfair segment. You can do a spike suit here if you want to. The problem is that these spikes do a lot of damage. They're 60 damage spikes. And the spike suit really is only going to be useful if you want to do the YOLO lava dive. Because if you try and spark over from this position, you're going to bonk. There's a way around that. If you hold forward as you do the unmorph on the spikes, and then you release forward the frame before you do the spike suit, so you need to hold forward that whole time, and then release it the frame before. See, like that would have been it, but I didn't release. There we go. Samus will end up in this spike suit pose in a lower position, and the reason for that is that she's already standing when you press jump to execute. So normally in a spike suit, when you press jump to use a spark, she's in a crouched position, so she ends up in a higher position. But in this instance, what you're doing is you're using the extra frame, which is normally the bad frame. You're using the extra frame holding forward to make Samus stand up, and then you're pressing jump. But if you hold forward while you're pressing jump, then she's going to spark forward. And so you're at a big risk of losing your spike suit if you do that. But it will allow you to just spark straight through the door. That's nice. Alternatively, if you don't want to do the spike suit, which I really wouldn't recommend doing the spike suit, you'll just want to collect these drops and then do a short charge and spark through. You don't want to bonk like that. You can also run forward and spark through if that's easier for you. Use a super to open this door. Collect the power bombs. Leave this room. And then you can just hold forward and do an aim down here and you'll clear this ledge. And then you want to push left. Come on, D-pad. You want to push left as you're going through this door transition to center it. Okay. And then there's a few things you can do here. Just doing a regular spin jump is plenty fast, especially if you know the cue to get through without stopping. That's a 4:30-ish room time. You can also do a moonfall if you're not bad. And then run forward after landing. Immediately stop yourself in the air, which will happen if you're not holding angle, and then you push angle as you run off. And you can fall through the door, and you can save 5 or 10 frames that way. In this room, you want to start running forward basically just as soon as the power bomb is touching Samus. And you want to press run for a 1 tap as her arm is reaching its backward position. And that will break you through these blocks right here. As long as you're in a good position, you can just do a speedball into here. And you can do a big jump out of here. You want to let go of jump before you reach your peak, because if you hold it the whole time, what's going to happen is you're going to bonk right there. So you want to, basically you want to let go once you've cleared this ripper right here. Okay, and then immediately repress it and do a mockball. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to go over both sets of strats here. If you have a spike suit, you need to try and make sure that you don't waste it. So the easiest way to do that is to hold R here, shoot as you unmorph, and then jump through the door. If you don't have a spike suit, doesn't really matter. You can just unmorph, angle up, shoot the door, go out. Okay. If you do have a spike suit, you need to wait to land here. If you don't, you can just immediately shoot the guy. That's how I do a 2 farm. Collect it. Usually you're gonna need at least two drops here though. I actually don't have a good method for farming all 4 of these guys. I tried to find something fast and I couldn't. So rip, I'm sorry. Maybe you can figure something out. And then of course, if you do have a spike suit, just got to make sure that you're not holding up while you're jumping and that you don't press R mid-jump or you're going to use it. You can, however, morph and unmorph to shoot up, and that won't use it. I count to 8 jumps here before I go up. You want to farm here until you're full. Excuse me. And by full, I mean full. Full health, full supers, full power bombs, full everything. This is the worst RNG in the entire world. Usually you end up doing somewhere between 5 and 7 farms here. So. Okay. There's a few things you can do in this room. You can just jump over and through. You can hit the ceiling and do a bounce ball. Again, if you're not bad. Like that. You can do a ceiling morph bounce ball. That one's hardest in my opinion. So. Anyway. You want to end up on the left side of this, right here. And then, let me think about this. So what I do is I hold dash and I hold right and up and I arm pump just a couple times. And then I shoot to open the door right as I'm passing this section of weeds. Okay. If you don't have spike suit, what you want to do is charge your spark and then jump through the door and do that. You can do a speed jump through the door, but the thing is, that completely wrecks your transition. See, that door transition was over 100 frames, where if you put it in the middle, it's 45 frames. So yeah, don't... As swaggy as this strat is, if I can do it again. Yeah, super swag. You're gonna lose time comparatively doing it, so. You wanna jump through, shoot the door open, do a spark. And if you position correctly, you can also get a really good transition through that door, but it's really hard and you're at risk of bonking your shine spark on the bottom of the hitbox. If you have a spike suit, same strat, just don't charge your spark right there. Just jump through. and then just shoot this door open and run through. Don't do an angle shot or you'll use your spark. And then bonk the ceiling again and do a bounce ball. That'll help you clear that right there. And then the nice thing about the spike suit is that you can just skip this this health recharge. Okay, and we're not going to because I'm going to show both methods. But yeah, if you have a spike suit, you can just skip the health recharge. Okay. So this next room, I have visual cues in the back that I use. It's these further down stalactites. There's 5 of them that you want to be aiming for. Basically, you want to grapple beneath each one of them, and then you'll be at the end. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You also can like try and do longer swings. But the thing is, you don't want too much health coming into this next room anyway. See, like that's about as much health as I would ever want. If I had more than that, I'd be scared. As long as you have about 615 though, you should be good. All right. And then when you run through the door, you want to have power bombs equipped, if possible. You can just shoot this gate, morph, lay a power bomb, kill that guy with a grapple, and then run through to do lava dive. Now there are a few different lava dive strats that you can do. What most people do is called a bounce ball strat, and I will cover that, but I'm gonna go over mine first. So you just run through, you do 2 high jumps, and then you angle at the peak of the second jump. And then just like with the bounce ball strats, you do wall jumps up. And then with this one, you'll do a crystal flash right here. By the way, if you're going to do the bounce ball method, you would want to turn off speed booster while you are refilling right here, because the bounce ball will not work if you have speed booster equipped. Just as an FYI. Okay, so for the spike suit method to get through this room, as you know, normally if you have, I can just show you. If you have a flash suit and you do a spin jump and you press R to try and, angle and get on these blocks, you're gonna blow your spike suit, right? So the way that we get around that, and I'll just equip it to prove it, is you want to do a morph unmorph between each of your grapples. Okay. And then you just get through the room that way. And you don't do that. Yep. And then what you can do is you just run through. You want to do basically the same kind of thing, and you can just do a shine spark up and through. You can also, and I think this is actually what I settled on, you can do shorter jumps, like a short jump here and a short jump here, and then one bigger jump. And you'll save a little bit of health doing it that way. So if your health is lower because you took longer in the grapple room, or you can even take damage on the spikes once and survive if you do everything else optimally. So, okay, so we'll talk about bounce ball. It's been a long time since I did this, so forgive me. I believe what you want to do is either align yourself with this or with this. I think most people do right here. Basically, they just push into this ledge right here and they fall down. Okay. And then what you want to do is you want to run and jump through this door. Now, ideally, you want to bonk the ceiling. Yeah, okay. So you want to bonk the ceiling, and then in the next room, if you did bonk the ceiling, you can just hold jump, and you want to morph at the correct time. That'll get you into position, bouncing down, and then you can just jump up like that, okay? Thing is, if you mistime it, that'll happen, and you'll have to reset the room. Yep. Or if you don't bonk the ceiling, then you'll jump a lot higher, and you won't be able to hold jump. So what I did back when I did this to alleviate that was I just got used to not ever holding jump after the transition. Hold down and then repress jump. Static actually started doing the bounce ball from here, and I actually found it a lot easier once I got used to it, so I'll show that too. Basically, it's the same idea, except you're a lot less likely to not get the correct position because of speed. Run speed. So as long as you time your morph correctly, you're gonna end up getting down. And it's actually even a little bit faster than the other method, so that's cool. Some people are nervous about this flame, that second flame right there. And so what they'll do is they'll like do an extra spin jump, an extra wall jump to avoid it, which you can do. But as long as you're not taking a long time to get set up, you don't actually need to worry about it. Okay. And then if your reserves haven't activated yet, what you want to do is run through here. If you did disable speed booster for the bounce ball method, then you want to pause and go down the elevator and re-enable it. What'll happen is your reserves will activate at the bottom of the elevator, and then you can crystal flash right here. Okay. Are there any other lava dive questions that I should cover? Or any other Upper Norfair questions that I should cover? So yeah, that's the Upper Norfair segment. Next time I go over this, we'll do some Lower Norfair. Probably we'll do GGG and GT. Maybe all the way to Ridley. I think I'll give Ridley his own segment and update my tutorial that I had previously. So, okay. Let's find someone to raid. Two Cat. Everyone's playing Smash Ultimate. What is this? Yeah, I'll send you guys on over to 2Cat. He's trying to get a 41 in any percent, so thanks guys, and hopefully I'll see you tomorrow.